Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadidamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Alexandra Savithri, Director of the American Reiki Academy and the Vedic Healing Center. I'm a Reiki master, Vedic healing master, Feng Shui teacher, and spiritual life coach. I've practiced and taught spiritual self-development and healing for more than 30 years, led pilgrimages to India, and studied with blessed Indian gurus. In this show, we cover topics related to metaphysics, Reiki, Vedic healing, Feng Shui, yoga, and spiritual growth, based upon my studies and work in these disciplines. The aim of this show is to help you awaken, develop, and tap into your spiritual power in order to create happiness, well-being, peace, love, prosperity, and productivity so you may blossom into the highest version of you. Welcome to today's episode, which is entitled, Don't Give Up on Your Spiritual Practice. There is magic waiting for you. Many times we do spiritual work and we get discouraged when we are not seeing results, either in our lives or in our beings. And I mean some tangible results that would really help us verify that this path is doing something for us. So, for instance, maybe you attend a yoga class and you go once a week. It's very nice and your body feels very good. It feels strong and balanced. You experience a distinct dose of clarity, calmness. But then you go back to life outside of class and you seem to be just as stressed out as you were before class. You also get too busy to go to yoga class regularly, and certainly you don't carve out time to practice at home. And actually, this is the way yoga is to be practiced, personally, privately, at home, as part of a spiritual discipline. However, we attend classes in order to solidify the teachings and to have the wisdom of the instructor helping us. So maybe you do meditation as well, and you try to make it a habit in the morning, but even 10 minutes of meditation seems difficult. And you even wonder why people say meditation is so enjoyable, because sometimes it feels like torture. Let's say you sit down, your thoughts are running wild in your head, you shift in your spot, you can't get comfortable, or you have an animal walk into the room, maybe your cat disturbs you and the cat's meowing or the cat wants attention, and you are trying your best to meditate, or your nose starts itching, or you feel cold and you realize you should have had a blanket nearby, so you get up and you get a blanket. And then you find there's noise outside. It's early morning, but you can hear neighbors talking, and you feel like that's distracting you. And so you start to realize some minutes have passed by, and you're starting to get not calm, but annoyed maybe at the cat, annoyed at the neighbors, annoyed that you can't get comfortable. And then you start wondering, what's wrong with you? You're supposed to be meditating, but now the distractions are running rampant and you have upsets going on in your physical space and then within your body as well. So maybe you shift to chanting and you say, oh, I heard something on YouTube, so I want to try to do this in the morning. And you start to chant, but then you wonder, are you pronouncing the words correctly? And maybe you think you're not really even sure of the meaning of the chant or what the correct meter is. Then perhaps you start thinking about the purpose of that chant and if that is the appropriate chant for you. Then you shift to something else. So your spiritual practice is, as I said, comprised of many, I've said this in the podcast, it's comprised of many different elements. It might be yoga asanas, it might be meditation, it might be chanting. So then you shift to something else because you now decide meditation isn't really working that well and the chanting is just okay. So you decide you're going to do some Reiki on yourself. You start doing Reiki. And again, you're shifting in your spot or you're thinking about the fact that you didn't study all the levels of Reiki. Now your mind is jumping to that and you've only done level 1. And so then you start thinking about all the things in your life that you don't finish. And your mind is just kind of giving you negative feedback, whereas you're supposed to be sitting in a peaceful space, and the Reiki and the meditation and the chanting are all supposed to make you feel good. But in the end, you start to feel discouraged about your progress on this spiritual path. You feel like you don't have a proper routine, and you certainly don't feel connected to Source, to God, to Spirit. You don't feel blissed out after this practice in the morning. And you wonder, what can this path really do for you? After all, your life looks the same. Day by day, your life looks the same. And sometimes when you are really quiet with yourself, you analyze your life and where it has gone, and you wonder how this path is really helping you or if it's helping you at all. So in this podcast, I would like to urge you to continue as if your very life depended upon this practice. And I would also like to suggest your very life and your life after this does indeed depend upon this practice. So we reach a space little by little when the time is right, where the path starts to magically and tangibly embrace us, fortify us, uplift us, and real blessings start to occur in our lives and in our being that we can only attribute to our spiritual practice. In other words, we start to know that this practice is the thing that is propelling us forward on the physical universe in conjunction with the real world activities that we must do during the day. So we're not going to sit and meditate for the whole day, although it would be really lovely. We still have to, most of us have to be in this world and do some sort of activity. But the activity becomes so amazingly productive and blissful and full of purpose. It flows as a result of this glorious path that is helping you navigate your course so easily, so effortlessly. Certainly challenges come up and problems come up, and they are part of life's incredible drama and the incredible lessons we all have to learn. But when I talk about magic, I mean events, people, circumstances, opportunities that come to us that would otherwise perhaps not have come to us so easily. So today, let's talk about some tips to help all of us not get discouraged on this path. The first tip I'd like to say today is to understand that the spiritual journey is not a race and it's not a competition, but it is kind of like a walk for a cause. We have those walks for causes where people sign up and do like a 3-mile walk or a 5-mile walk, and they are walking for a certain cause they believe in. So this spiritual journey is a walk for a cause, and that cause is you and your inner transformation. So understand this journey and the incredible purpose that it serves for us. The second tip is to persevere with your daily spiritual practice, no matter what. So in past podcasts, I've talked about this practice, which we call sadhana in Sanskrit, as being something you do every single day, no matter what. There are different components, and we discuss this in classes. And once you have an incredible framework for this practice, you persevere with it because you start to reap the benefits. So what happens is you plod through all the activity of the mind, the emotions, the body. So all those crazy thoughts of the monkey mind, the emotions that come up, those negative emotions about who we are and what we haven't done, and comparing ourselves to other people, and then bodily conditions, being uncomfortable and so forth. All of these we start to iron out, and everything becomes very smooth. So each of the components of sadhana leads us to deeper inner awareness. And the practice becomes so enjoyable on this path that we wouldn't ever conceive of our day not having this practice as part of it. It is so natural. It becomes so natural, just as it is so natural when you wake up that you would wash your face. So your spiritual practice, your sadhana, is the washing, the purifying, the cleansing of your being. Just as you wash your face, you are going to wash your whole being. All of your thoughts and emotions and bodily conditions, all of these get washed and purified and cleansed so that your daily activities can be occurring more smoothly. And ultimately, as we always talk about in our classes, ultimately, not only your daily experience, but your experience as a soul, where you are going, that becomes very smooth. Your sadhana is paving the way for a smooth passage in this lifetime, but then also in other lifetimes or other experiences, depending upon if you're coming back here again or wherever you're going in that transition, in that journey to the next phases for you, for your growth, for my growth. So the third tip would be to try one component of the path, but try it in depth, okay? This is a sort of little mini challenge that I'm suggesting today. So you may be doing yoga asanas, you may be doing meditation, you may be chanting, you may be doing visualization, you may be doing journal writing, you may be doing the reading of spiritual texts, you may be doing Vedic rituals that we teach in our classes. So choose one of these components, and for the next 7 or 9 or 15 or 30 days, do it as if your life depends on it. In other words, say to yourself, and actually, let me backtrack. I said, do it as if your life depends on it. Actually, your entire well-being depends on it. Your entire well-being depends upon your sadhana. So choose one component. Let's say you choose your yoga asanas. And I always say yoga asanas. I don't usually just say yoga because remember, yoga is more than just the physical practice of the asanas. So let's say you choose your yoga asanas, your movement through the practices, the physical practices of yoga. And you say, I've been doing my yoga asanas for 15 minutes in the morning, or half an hour, whatever you've been doing. Or maybe you haven't been doing much at all. And you say, for the next 30 days, I'm going to do 45 minutes of yoga every morning, no matter what. Or you choose your meditation and you say, I've been doing 10 minutes. If I'm honest with myself, I've been doing 10 minutes sporadically, let's say you say to yourself. And so you make a vow, a promise to yourself. It's only between you. And you say, I'm going to do 20 minutes of silent meditation every morning, no matter what. Let's say you have been doing chanting, and there's a certain mantra that you chant, and you say, I'm going to do this mantra every day, 108 times for 30 days, and I'm going to see where my life is at the end of that time. Recently, I did a series of rituals to Lord Ganesha in honor of Ganesh Chaturthi, which is the annual celebration of Ganesha's birth. And I started the rituals 6 weeks before Ganesh Chaturthi because I just felt compelled to connect with Ganesh. And I wanted to see also what occurred in my life as a result. I do Ganesh mantras every day, but I intensified my practice. And in the early stages of this, probably the second week, some fascinating things started occurring in my life. And then some incredible opportunities came to me. And I kept at this practice. I can't say that everything was rosy because there were certainly challenges, but it was an incredible 6 weeks. And then Ganesh Chaturthi came, and I intensified the rituals again. And I'm urging you, if you are doing any of these things, in this tip, what is this? Tip number 3, to select one component and just say to yourself, I want to see I want to put this to the test. They say the proof is in the pudding. So you want to see what is the result. You want to prove this to yourself. It's very important because with that proof comes the inspiration to do more. And perhaps it's Reiki, perhaps it's the reading of spiritual texts. Perhaps you have not had time to incorporate that, the reading, the studying of this literature that is so important. So you say, I'm going to devote daily time to this, maybe in the morning and the evening. And again, with our sadhana, we do it 3 times a day to align ourselves with the energies of creation, sustenance, destruction, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. So this is your choice, whatever component you choose and whatever duration you choose. Only you know what you've been wanting to do more of. So this is just another tip that might help you. And at the end, and you may also take notes. I was taking notes actually during my Ganesh rituals and observe what's changing. Because sometimes we ignore or discount the good that is happening to us. We focus more on the glass half empty. But when you commit to paper, what is actually what you are grateful for, what the good that is coming to you, you start to see and acknowledge all these blessings. So the 4th tip for today is to commit to the next levels of study along your path. So by this, what do I mean? When we cease to progress on the path, we stagnate. But with more training, we gain knowledge, and thus we keep our energies moving, which translates into real results in our lives. As many of you know, I was very, very, very blessed to have studied in India with different gurus. And I would say this time, this intense time of studying with these gurus was the most meaningful thing that I have experienced this lifetime. Think of your study this way. 1 hour with your teacher, 1/2 hour with your teacher is worth so much that you can't even distinguish. You can't even quantify. You can't put into words what that half an hour has done for you. In India, there's this very beautiful experience of darshan. Darshan means being in the presence of a guru. It translates as holy sighting. So you view the guru or the deity. If you're in a temple, you have darshan of the deity. And sometimes the darshan is so short. We waited in line in a very famous temple in Tirupati. And there are thousands of people who go to Tirupati, who journey there to see the deity. And when you see this deity, there's so many people. Your darshan is only a few seconds. And you gaze at the deity. And in those seconds, some energy gets transmitted to you that you cannot put into words and you cannot ever measure. But it's incredible. The effect it has had, and it will continue to have in your life, can never be measured. But you know and you feel, especially when you're sensitive And we become more sensitive on the path the more we move into these subtle energies that we find through meditation, through Reiki, through spiritual study, through chanting, through bhakti yoga, through any kind of yoga, really. We become more sensitive. And so the darshan that we experience might be just a few seconds, and you're overwhelmed with this feeling, with this love, it's like the energy of the deity just comes rushing towards you, and you feel it in every fiber of your being. And sometimes it moves you so much emotionally. It fills you with a love that is so great, you cannot even contain it. And this is the bliss found in the spiritual path, because it reconnects you. This path reconnects you with this Shakti, with this power, with this spiritual energy that is so grand and is so full and is so much love. And we remember this is our true essence. So in working with these deities, we get a taste of that energy, and we return to our true energies by absorbing and imbibing some of that energy. So the fifth tip today is, as always, follow your intuition. So on this spiritual path, follow your intuition. And here is the key. You can only follow your intuitive voice if you become very, very quiet. The spiritual practice, your sadhana, helps you quiet down all noise so that you can hear and sense and feel and see subtle energies that are actually present all around us, but get drowned out by all the denseness of the material world. So the spiritual practice helps us return to that intuitive voice. And it's that intuitive voice that guides us, or that should guide us if we can perceive it. I started this podcast by urging you not to give up when life seems bleak, and when the notion of the spiritual path helping us seems vague or unattainable. But in fact, real help for anything in our lives is available through this amazing spiritual path. And really, we have only to intensify and deepen our practice. And this path, again, will rush up to support us. We discover that the spiritual team, it's like a spiritual support team that we have around us, has always been around us and has been waiting for us simply to do our part and reach out to reconnect with these other realms. So I just want to end by saying, please don't wait even one moment longer to embrace this spiritual practice. If you need help, you can please reach out to me. I have lots of resources and classes, of course, and private coaching sessions that I do to help people on their path. Keep going. Do not despair. Do not give up. And to just try this path, but to know also that there are resources for you. Again, the time spent with my teachers in India has been the most invaluable thing of my lifetime. And it has made me understand the relationship between the seeker, the can be spiritual seeker or any kind of seeker, but the seeker, the student, and the teacher. So there is help for anyone who is interested in this path. The help comes to you in the form of maybe this podcast, maybe a class you're going to take, a book that's going to come to you. And so you put out in the universe what you would like help with, and then you listen and watch and wait and witness what comes back to you. But you can only receive the gifts, the answers to your prayers when you are open, willing, ready, and curious about receiving. My guru used to say to be as a child at the feet of the divine. So we must be open and innocent and ready to receive blessings. And also the last thing I want to say is to have fun in the process. The spiritual path really is quite magical, and it is not serious in any way. It is very uplifting, very blissful, very peaceful, but really not very serious. It teaches us to be light and playful and curious and open. This is actually one of the teachings of Lord Ganesha. So I started talking about Ganesha at some point during this podcast, and I'll come back now. It feels appropriate to come back and to speak about Ganesh just briefly as we wrap up. And one of the things Ganesh teaches us is to be playful, to not take ourselves too seriously. And he reminds us that the divine is listening to us and always ready and willing to remove obstacles in our path if we can just reach out and be humble enough to say to the divine, I know I cannot do everything myself. I am made in an image and likeness of the divine energy. I'm a spark of this divine energy, but I am just me. And so please help me. We surrender. We surrender to this divine wisdom, to this divine light, which is so incredible and so immense. It has created all of us. It has created the planet. It's created the animals and all the aspects of nature and the beauty and everything that we see around us. And it should humble us. But at the same time, we also understand Aham Brahmasmi, that the God, the light, this spark of divinity is within us. And so when we acknowledge that, we become able to co-create with the divine energy. We merge with the divine energy because we remember and we go back to that source energy. We remember that we are that essence. It's one of the teachings also of the Gayatri Mantra. I hope this has been helpful to you. And if you would like to learn how you can use spiritual techniques to move energies in your life, please click on the link at the bottom of this podcast, and you will find resources on the website and be able to be in touch with me. I'm happy to be of assistance in any way. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Om Sai Ram, Jai Guruji. Om Amriteshwariye Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Hare Krishna.